Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jana, and this is Jana's Beautiful Mess. This is week 2 garden tour. Today is May 21st. The last one I did was May 7th. So it's the second garden tour, but technically week 3. Let's get started. Of course, the oregano and rosemary that we talked about last time. Here are the peas. Lots of blooms now. So hopefully we've gotten a handful of peas off of here. Hopefully we'll get quite a few more. It's supposed to be in the 90s next week, so I'm hoping we'll get a nice little harvest before that happens. And remember that poor measly little tomatillo that was fighting for its life? Well, in 2 weeks this has happened, and look at there. Can you see the tomatillo? Bought some lavender. It's it's nothing special. And I didn't start any, so I bought some. Parsley is coming up now. The kale. Paris Island lettuce, that's what it was. Alright, when did I sow that? On the 8th of April. So it's ready. It's the size to harvest now. And then some ground cherries. I need to separate these out, but I don't know if I can. Will they tolerate it well like peppers and tomatoes do, or will it kill them? You guys let me know. I'm excited about that. I've never grown those before. This is elephant dill. This is that time that I need to put into another bed, or into a pot. I just don't have another planter to put it in. That's the only reason I haven't moved it. I gotta get another planter. Look how beautiful. But it's getting hot. It's gonna start bolting soon. But look how beautiful it is. It just makes me so incredibly happy to be able to come out here and harvest as much greens as I want for myself and my family. I just can't explain how happy it makes me. So I love to be able to share that with you guys. I can't remember. I've planted so many different kinds. This was Bib. This was Bib lettuce. And then this is the romaine down the sides. More lacinato kale. More romaine down that side. And then that's the ragged jack or Russian red. And these are kohlrabi down here. They probably won't make it. It'll probably get too hot, but I want to try. I can't remember if all the tomatoes were in the last tour or not, but here they are, and they have grown quite a bit. We've got them trellised. Got a couple of clips on now. Clip. And this is what I mean when I say we heavily prune our tomatoes. They have absolutely no limbs until the first fruit. This one is not quite big enough yet, but the first fruit will be here. So once it gets a little bit larger, I'm going to take these lower limbs off too, all the way up to that first bunch of fruit. Then after we harvest that bunch of fruit, and the plant is, you know, much taller up here, we'll take all of this foliage off up to the next bunch of fruit. First tomatoes, and they're clementines. Let's see, I think I've been skipping around. Okay, so here are the onions that I started from sets. I saw somebody like maybe Hollis and Nancy's homestead where they clean out around the bulb and just kind of leave the roots attached. Is that something I'm supposed to be doing so that these will get big, or can I just leave them? I don't know. You guys let me know. Those are the red onions all the way down to here, and then these are the bunching onions. But then there's bunching onions all the way down to here. And this is that lettuce that I sowed but that never came up. So I've got a bunch of peppers and eggplants ready to go in. You guys will see when I get to the back garden. So that's probably where a couple of those will go in. 40 tomatoes, 20 on each side. And here we've got the garlic. It doesn't look very happy, but I don't know, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's supposed to look like that. This is the first time for me for a lot of things, so you guys are learning right along with me. Look how big around that stem is already. It's exciting. And these are leeks that I planted. I think I probably planted them too late, but I just wanted to try. And then I know these, you mound up the dirt so that it's got the longer white shaft. But I'm confused about the bulb with the onions. You guys let me know what your favorite onion growing tricks are. So let's go to this middle bed. Flowers, calendula. And here we've got Swiss chard, direct sowed on the 8th of April. And this is spinach. I'm harvesting off of it daily. They're getting big. How big they are. Oops. Use them for juicing and stuff. They're still surprisingly tender, even though they're this big now. It's yummy. Okay, I'll quit eating. Some more of the carrots. I know I've got them sewn way too thick, but I just couldn't bring myself to thin them out. I know, but it's fun. I'll do better next time. Swiss chard. This, look at the size. It's just so beautiful. And beets. I transplanted a bunch of beets over there, but then I was worried they weren't going to make it, so then I direct sowed some here, and they're doing really well. Then so are the ones I transplanted. Butterhead lettuce. Elliot really likes those. I think this is more summer bib. More carrots. This is a Cosmo. These radishes, I'm letting them bolt because I want to try the pods. Supposedly the little seed pods have radishy flavor. You can use them in stir fry and salads and stuff. Here, I just pulled out the turnips that were here. I'm going to amend it, add a little topsoil, add a little compost. I'll put in either peppers or eggplants here. I would put like in the cucumbers or something, but since I've already got the tomatoes trellised, I don't want to do another binding thing because I want them to be able to breathe. I want good airflow. So 40 more tomatoes. And this one, if we come over here, more flowers. This is flashback mix calendula. And these are the potato leaf tomatoes. Right here, I'm going to pull all that clover and I'm going to put in eggplant. And I had extra romaine and I knew it would be shady in there, so I shoved them in there. Oh, so these are vintage wines and then brandy wines down here. These are the beets that I transplanted in. More spinach. More extra lettuce that I just shoved over here because it's kind of a shady, cool corner. So beautiful. And this spinach, I started indoors and transplanted into the garden. And this is one that's supposed to do well in the heat. I think it's called Black-Seeded Simpson. And it's really pretty. Oh, and this whole row of tomatoes here is cherry tomatoes, and I wanted to put the cherry tomatoes closest to the kitchen so that we could just come out and snack on cherry tomatoes. More Swiss chard. I'm going to stick my jalapenos here. Cilantro. Look! It's so beautiful. Sorry, I tried to take a picture and I accidentally turned it off. Oh, Looky, looky. All right, I guess that's everything for the kitchen garden. Now we're gonna go around to the back, and you guys haven't seen that area yet since we fixed it up. Well, it seems like we filmed 100 different time lapses in the last 2 weeks putting together this garden, but this will be the first official tour of it since it's been put together. Here we go. These are all the things that are ready to be transplanted in now. Some of them are rather large, but we kept getting cold snaps, and then I needed to harden them off, and so anyways, these are all things that will be going in the next day or two. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tomatoes here are the only determinate tomatoes we have on the whole homestead. So, and we've got 203 tomato plants total, so 6 is not very many for us. These are all Romas, so we'll be canning from most of these. That is the hope, anyway.
Yeah.
This is longevity spinach.
Longevity spinach?
This one. And it's our first time of trying it. It's gonna be a vine, so we put it here in the corner. It will climb this fence. At the end of the season, it won't withstand the cold, but you can just take a clipping and put it in water and root it and then put it back out the next year. That's one of the reasons it's called longevity spinach. Okay. So this is where our overflow of tomatoes landed. And I don't know if I've told the story of how we ended up with so many tomatoes, but we started gardening last year, and we moved into the shade some, better lighting. So we started gardening last year, and we really only did tomatoes. And we had a friend that was selling tomato starts, and so we just told her, give us a couple of every kind you have. And so she did, and then people sent us tomato seeds for Christmas. Oh, and we saved a whole bunch of seeds as well. And we weren't even sure we were saving the seeds right. So I didn't know if any of those seeds were gonna germinate at all. So then when it's time to start seeds, I decided, well, I'll start like 2 or 3 of every variety that we have. And then I didn't have any cells, so I was doing them in cardboard boxes. I was making soil blocks in cardboard boxes, and each cardboard box would fit like 5 or 6 soil blocks. And I didn't have labels to separate them out, so I just thought, well, I'll just do 6 of every kind, because that's how many will fit in a row, and then I'll use less labels. I didn't know how they were gonna germinate, so I put 3 seeds in every cell, and then almost all of them germinated. So then we ended up with like 240 tomato plants.
244.
244 tomato plants that we couldn't just throw away because we have a problem. So we gave away as many as we possibly could, and we still ended up with 203 tomato plants. That's why we had a whole overflow garden this year. Starting here, these are 16-foot beds, so there's 1 tomato per square foot, so there'll be 32 tomatoes per bed. And I tried to bunch them together as best I could, but they're not entire rows of anything. Like these start with orange persimmon, but then they switch to Valencias right here, and then they're Valencias all the way down to here, and then that's a pink Berkeley tie-dye and a Cherokee purple and 2 uglies. Something very similar over here. I think these are beefsteaks. It's all the way till here, and then from here down to the end are all St. Piers. Starting here, this is the only place in the garden we have Amish paste tomatoes. We don't have any Amish paste in the kitchen garden. So starting here, we have Amish paste, and they go all the way and wrap around to here. And then starting on the second one, going all the way down to here are mortgage lifters. And then from here, I guess only those first two are clementines. And then it starts one called a long small. This is also the only spot that we have long smalls because we didn't really care for those last year.
But we still ended up with 6 of them.
Yeah, we still ended up with 6. Like that.
So the ones that we don't like, we get 6 of.
Yeah. Those two are mystery tomatoes. Here's what a sunburned. I had hardened them off once, but then I put them back in the greenhouse for 2 or 3 days and put them out, and it sunburned some of them. I got distracted. These are the potato leaf ones, which are the wines. They're in the wine family. They're either vintage wine or brandy wine.
So the potato ones, they look like these leaves. Mm-hmm. And then the other ones look like these leaves?
Yeah, so they're called potato leaves because when the potatoes, their leaves should look like that. Potato leaves all the way to here.
Daddy?
Mortgage lifter again.
Now there are 3 mortgage lifters.
They were our most prolific tomato last year.
Yeah. The orange persimmons were the largest, but they definitely gave us the most. There'll be a video coming out, a time-lapse video at least, of me planting this bed, and it's just potatoes. We decided we wanted 2 beds full, and I didn't have enough whole potatoes. So we made potato chips out of the other potatoes, and those will all go in this bed here after these get transplanted in. We'll have some test beds. We'll have one bed that's whole potatoes, and the other bed that's the chips, or the pieces of potatoes with just the eyes on them. And we'll get to see which one grows better. I'll be happy with any growth of potatoes at this point because so far it's been a miserable failure, and supposedly they're one of the easiest things to grow. So this one is onions. I think we got them in the ground way too late, but that's not because we ordered them too late. I think we just got them too late. We put them in the ground to see what happens. It's been unusually cool, so maybe they'll produce something. So they're white onions all the way to here. And then there to the end is red onions. $240 onions in that bed. This one is the squash bed. So it's half zucchini, black beauty zucchini, till about here, 8 feet. And then it's the other half is hybrid yellow summer squash, which we planted last year. It had the prettiest marbled skin. It was beautiful. And then I planted flowers on either side, but I didn't label it. It'll be a surprise. This is all corn. 3 rows of corn. There should be 48 altogether. We'll see. We've never done corn before either, but supposedly it's supposed to be close together like in a crop, so it may be too close. We'll see.
You should tell them your tip about using the potting soil in here to mark stuff.
Yeah, okay. This is the best place to show it, really. I did it with the carrots and it worked beautifully. But what I do is everywhere I knew that I wanted to plant something, I would dig a hole and I would put in my seeds, and then I top it off with my potting soil that has vermiculite. Works really well if you do it with carrots, and you put rows in and then you put in your seeds and then you sprinkle it in that row, because then you know where you're looking for your seeds to come up. So I know that this white spot and this white spot and this white spot, these are all places that I'm looking to see if my seeds have germinated. And that's just something that I do because it helps me out. And it makes the soil a little bit softer. So if you have things like carrots or lettuce or things with really small seeds that would have a hard time going up through a chunky compost, it's a lot easier for it to go up through potting soil than it is compost. Oh, and this bed, I think I just got it in the ground too late, but it still has been a fun learning experience. And I knew anything that we got out of here was going to be a bonus when I put it in the ground.
Beautiful garden bed.
I'm actually thinking about, can't believe I'm saying this, I'm actually thinking about transplanting my asparagus into this bed. Yeah, I know. Next year I was going to get to harvest it, like all I wanted.
Think about going in the garden bed.
Mostly it's getting eaten up by caterpillars. These moths, they come and they lay their eggs and then they hatch. When there they are. There's a worm. When these worms hatch, then they just eat it. You can spray BT on it. You can cover it, but you have to cover it before the moths lay their eggs. From some other experienced gardeners that I watched, they claim that once the holes start showing up, it's time to harvest. Like I said, I think I started these seeds about 3 weeks too late. I think 3 to 4 weeks and we would have been harvesting some cabbage for sure. But
yeah,
I'll write that down in my gardening journal and try again next year. Frisk is gonna help us out. We could harvest this kale though, it's ready.
What kind of kale is that?
It's Russian red or ragged jack. See the things that look like little tears?
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be there. That's what makes it the ragged jack.
It's kind of a pretty kale.
Yeah, it's not the tastiest kale. I mean, it tastes like kale. You know, a lot of kale, when you grow it yourself, it tastes so much better than when you get it at the store. Well, and it is still better than when you buy it at the store. But it tastes like kale, you know, and some of the other stuff, like the lacinato or the black magic, it tastes sweet. Like it's just, you're just like, man, that's homegrown kale. So that's it. We've got, I mean, I direct sowed some okra, but it got too cold and then they got stunted and now they're getting eaten and the rest of this is just weeds. So I need to do a little maintenance, make it a little bit nicer so that our asparagus will like its new home. But we've got lots of other big plans, but that's all we've got in the ground so far this year. So thanks for joining us today for our second official garden tour here at Jana's Beautiful Mess on the Clifton Homestead. We'll see you guys again next week. Bye.